Ladies and gentlemen, there are seasons in life when you feel like you've given your best, and yet nothing seems to change. You pray, you try, you endure, but deep inside you're tired. Tired of carrying burdens no one sees. Tired of staying strong for everyone else. Tired of smiling while silently breaking. But let me assure you today, God sees your struggle. He knows you're tired. The creator of the universe is not distant or unaware. He is the God who keeps count of your sleepless nights, the tears that fall in silence, and the thoughts you dare not share with anyone. You are not invisible to Him. Sometimes, when you're in the middle of your trial, it feels like heaven is silent. But silence is not absence. In fact, the teacher is always silent during the test. Your struggle is not a sign of abandonment, it's a sign of development. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. God is shaping something inside of you through the very storm you wish would end. He's building your endurance, refining your character, and preparing your spirit for the next level. If it feels heavy right now, it's because you're carrying something valuable. You see, fatigue doesn't mean failure. Spiritual tiredness is part of the journey when you're pushing forward with faith. Elijah, the great prophet, once got so weary that he asked God to take his life, but instead of scolding him, God sent an angel with food and told him to rest. That's the nature of our God. He knows when your soul is worn out, and He comes not to criticize, but to comfort and restore. So don't confuse exhaustion with weakness. Even the strongest warriors need rest. God is not finished with you. This pain you're feeling, this season you're enduring, it's not your ending. It's a chapter. And when the time is right, God will open the next one. But until then, rest in the truth that He is watching over you. The fight you're in is not unnoticed. Heaven has a record, and the reward, it's greater than you can imagine. Sometimes the blessing doesn't come until after the breaking. The seed doesn't bloom until it breaks open. And likewise, your struggle might just be the beginning of your greatest season yet. So lift your head, breathe. You don't have to pretend to be okay all the time. It's okay to feel tired. Just don't give up. Because the same God who sees your struggle will strengthen your steps. He's not done writing your story, and I promise you, the next chapter is full of purpose, peace, and power. There are moments in life when it feels like you've reached your limit. You've prayed every prayer you know how to pray. You've shown up day after day, trying to do the right thing, trying to keep your heart pure and your spirit strong. And yet things still feel heavy. Doors haven't opened. Opportunities seem to pass you by. People you trusted walked away. The weight on your shoulders seems unbearable, and you wonder if anyone truly sees what you're going through. Let me reassure you, God sees your struggle. He knows you're tired. He's not looking from a distance with indifference. He's watching with compassion, with understanding, and with a plan. While others may overlook your pain, God never does. While people may misinterpret your silence or strength as being fine, God knows the inner exhaustion that you've been carrying quietly. There's something powerful about knowing that the Creator of the universe knows exactly how you feel. He understands your heartache. He understands the pressure of holding everything together when your world is falling apart. He sees the effort you're putting in just to wake up and face another day. He sees the nights where sleep escapes you because your mind is filled with questions and your heart is heavy with uncertainty. And even though you may not hear His voice, even though you may not see immediate answers to your prayers, He's right there with you in the waiting. Just because God is silent doesn't mean He is absent. Sometimes His silence is a space where trust is built and character is formed. He may not be changing your circumstances yet, but He is most certainly changing you within them. And maybe that's why the struggle feels so intense, because something is being developed inside of you. Strength is being cultivated, patience is being stretched, faith is being tested not to break you, but to grow you. You see, when you're tired, it doesn't mean you failed. Being tired is a human response to carrying more than your fair share for longer than most people would have endured. It's a sign that you've been strong, brave, and resilient. It's not weakness, it's weariness. And the good news is, God has made provision for your weariness. He hasn't asked you to carry it all alone. He invites you to come to Him, all who are weary and burdened, and He promises to give you rest. Not just physical rest, but soul-deep renewal. Even in Scripture, we see moments where mighty men and women of God hit their breaking point. Elijah, after performing incredible miracles, collapsed under a tree and begged God to end his life. He was burnt out. He was empty. But what did God do? He didn't rebuke him. He sent an angel to minister to him, to give him food and water, and to let him rest. That's the kind of God we serve. One who meets us in our exhaustion with grace, not guilt. One who doesn't expect us to be strong every second, but instead offers His strength when ours runs out. You may not feel like you're making progress right now, but God is working behind the scenes. What feels like a season of delay may actually be divine preparation. God doesn't waste pain. He doesn't overlook perseverance. He sees every moment you chose to believe when there was no sign. Every time you showed love when it was easier to be bitter, every act of faith, every quiet prayer, He has seen it all, and at the right time, He will reward you. You don't need to manufacture your breakthrough. You just need to stay faithful, even if it's with trembling hands and a weary heart. Because God sees your struggle. He knows you're tired, and He will not leave you where you are. Sometimes when you're in the middle of your trial, it feels like heaven has gone quiet. You reach out in prayer and all you hear is silence. You ask for answers, but nothing seems to change. It's in these moments that doubt tries to creep in. You begin to wonder if God is listening, if He even sees what you're going through. But the truth is, silence is not absence. Just because God isn't speaking doesn't mean He has walked away. In fact, the silence can often be the space where God does His deepest work. Just like a teacher is silent during a test, God sometimes steps back, not to abandon you, but to allow what He's already placed inside of you to come to the surface. He's building trust, stretching your faith, and showing you that your strength doesn't come from what you feel, but from what you know. Your struggle is not a punishment, it's preparation. It's not evidence that God has left you, it's evidence that He's getting ready to use you. You don't go through hard seasons for no reason. There's always a deeper purpose behind your pain. Sometimes the battles you're fighting are shaping you for victories you can't yet see. Maybe God is toughening your resolve. Maybe He's developing patience, humility, or deeper dependence on Him. The very pressure you feel might be the pressure that produces your breakthrough. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Olive oil only comes when the olive is crushed. In the same way, what's pressing on you now might be releasing something in you that you didn't even know was there. Strength, wisdom, compassion, endurance. The danger in these tired testing seasons is not just giving up, but misinterpreting what they mean. Too often, we think struggle equals failure. We assume that if we're tired, we're doing something wrong. But being tired isn't a sign you've failed. It's a sign that you've kept going. You didn't quit. You didn't walk away. You've been holding on when most people would have let go. And that matters to God. He sees your effort. He honors your perseverance. He's not measuring your journey by how perfect you've been, but by how faithful you've tried to be, even when it was hard. He understands what it means to be tired. Jesus himself wept. He grew weary. He carried the weight of the world, literally, and still chose to trust his Father. You're not alone in your fatigue. God understands, and he walks with you through it. Right now, it might feel like you're stuck, like the situation will never change, like the doors you've been knocking on will never open. But the truth is, your tired season is not the end of your story. It's just a chapter. And this chapter is building towards something greater. God is still writing. He's still working. He's still aligning things on your behalf. Sometimes it takes longer because he's not just preparing the blessing, he's preparing you to carry it well. What good is a blessing if you're not strong enough to hold it? What good is an opportunity if your character can't support it? God doesn't just want to give you things, he wants to grow you into the person who's ready for them. So even if you feel weary right now, don't lose hope. Take a deep breath. Rest if you must, but don't give up. This season is temporary, but what God is doing in you is eternal. One day you'll look back on this moment not with regret, but with gratitude. Because this struggle, this silence, this tiredness, it was all part of the preparation. God sees it. He knows. And he's already making a way forward, even if you can't see it yet. Trust him. Keep walking. The breakthrough is closer than you think. You're not being punished, you're being prepared. That simple truth can shift your entire perspective when you're in the middle of hardship. It may not feel like preparation. It may feel more like punishment, like you're going through one setback after another without catching a break. But the reality is, God often uses the seasons of struggle to prepare us for something greater than we can imagine. He's not trying to break you, he's building you. The challenge is that the process of preparation rarely looks like the promise. You're praying for peace, but all you see is chaos. You're asking for breakthrough, but you're surrounded by closed doors. You're seeking strength, but you feel like you've never been weaker. But what if this very place, the place where you feel undone, is where God is doing his most important work in you? You see, preparation often comes disguised as pressure. And that pressure is not pointless. God never wastes a struggle. The trials you face are not meant to destroy you. They're designed to shape you. The very hardship you're facing may be developing the resilience, humility, and wisdom needed for the next level of your life. Growth never happens in comfort. Trees grow stronger when winds challenge their roots. Muscles grow only when they are stretched and torn. In the same way, your faith grows strongest in seasons of pressure and pain. You may not see the purpose now, but when God reveals what he was working on all along, it will make sense. He's not ignoring your prayers. He's responding in a way that builds your future, not just your feeling. It's easy to trust God when everything is going right, but true faith is forged when you choose to trust him in the dark, when nothing makes sense, when you're tired and weary and questioning how much more you can take. That's where maturity is born. That's where the deeper parts of your character are formed, not in comfort, but in challenge. You're not just being prepared for something, you're being transformed into someone who can carry the weight of a calling, someone who can influence others with integrity, someone who doesn't crumble under pressure, but stands firm because they've been through the fire and survived. You are that someone in the making, and this season is shaping you far more than you realize. So don't rush the process. Don't wish away the preparation. It's uncomfortable, yes. It's tiring, without a doubt. But it's doing something deep inside you. God is not in a hurry. He's more interested in who you're becoming than how quickly you get there. He's more concerned with your foundation than with your fame, with your strength of character than your speed of achievement. And often that foundation is built in silence, in long nights, in quiet prayers, and in lonely moments. But take heart, because what's built in private will sustain you in public. What's formed in the fire will not be fragile in the storm. Your struggle is not random, it's not meaningless, it's part of the divine design, the necessary shaping of your soul. One day you'll look back and realize that the season you hated was the one that made you. The things you begged God to take away were the very things He used to grow you. So hold on. You're not being forgotten. You're being formed. And when the time is right, what God has been preparing in you will be released. Until then, trust the process. Endure the preparation. And know with full confidence that God sees every step you take, every tear you cry, and every moment you choose to keep going. Being tired doesn't mean you're weak. It means you've been strong for too long. There's a kind of exhaustion that goes beyond the physical, something deeper that settles into your spirit when you've been holding on, fighting silent battles, and showing up every day with a brave face. It's not the kind of tired a nap can fix. It's the kind of tired that comes from constantly giving, constantly believing, constantly hoping, even when it feels like nothing is changing. And yet, in that very place of weariness, God sees you. He knows the toll it's taken. He understands how heavy your heart feels, how you lie awake at night wondering how much longer you can keep going. You don't have to pretend with Him. You don't have to wear a mask. He's not waiting for you to get stronger. He's inviting you to come as you are, tired and all. There is no shame in feeling worn out. Jesus Himself experienced weariness. He got tired. He withdrew to quiet places to pray and be refreshed. If the Son of God needed rest, how much more do we? God is not disappointed in you because you feel overwhelmed. He's not keeping score of how many times you've questioned the journey. What He sees is your persistence, your heart that keeps beating with hope even when your eyes are full of tears. What He honors is your willingness to keep walking even with shaking knees. When you cry out to Him from a place of fatigue, He doesn't turn away. He leans in closer. The Bible says He is near to the brokenhearted. That nearness isn't just spiritual, it's emotional. He's right there in the middle of your exhaustion, holding you together when everything feels like it's falling apart. Sometimes we think we have to be strong all the time. We feel like if we admit we're tired, we're letting God down. But the truth is, God doesn't ask us to be strong in our own power. He tells us that His strength is made perfect in our weakness. That means you don't have to have it all together for God to show up. In fact, it's often when you finally lay your burdens down and say, God, I can't carry this anymore, that He steps in with the strength you've been searching for. You're not expected to be invincible. You're allowed to be human. You're allowed to admit you're tired. And in doing so, you make space for divine help to carry you through. And this tired season you're in, it won't last forever. Fatigue isn't the final chapter. Yes, it's real, and yes, it's hard, but it's also temporary. God doesn't just see your tiredness, He sees beyond it. He sees who you're becoming through the struggle. He sees how this season is refining you, teaching you endurance, revealing what truly matters. And even now, as your energy wanes, He's placing supernatural strength inside of you. A quiet kind of power, a peace that doesn't always make sense but carries you through the chaos. Sometimes rest isn't found in escaping the storm, it's found in learning how to lean on God in the middle of it. So if all you've done lately is just keep going, if you've gotten up one more time, prayed one more prayer, smiled one more time when you felt like crying, then you're doing more than enough. You're not failing, you're enduring. You're not weak, you're resilient. God sees the strength in your steps, the faith in your fatigue, and the beauty in your brokenness. You don't have to impress Him. You just have to trust Him. And even in your tiredness, even when you feel like you're barely holding it together, He's holding you. When you cry in secret, God sees it. He sees the tears you hide behind your smile, the pain you mask with silence, the weariness you cover with forced strength. You may feel like no one notices, like no one understands what you're carrying, but God does. The tears you shed alone are never wasted. The nights you spend wondering if it's all worth it, if the breakthrough will ever come, are not ignored in heaven. God is not distant from your pain. He is intimately familiar with every detail of your life, every emotion you've buried, every cry you couldn't put into words. The Bible tells us He collects every tear in a bottle. That's how much they matter to Him. They are not forgotten, they are sacred. There is something profoundly holy about brokenness when it is brought before God. You don't need to have perfect prayers. You don't need to have the right words. When your heart breaks open before Him, your silence speaks louder than any sermon. He hears the cries that never make it past your lips. He feels the ache that no one else sees. He knows the full weight of what you carry, and still He loves you, not in spite of your struggle, but in the very midst of it. When the world looks at your strength, God looks at your surrender. He is drawn not to your performance, but to your honesty. You may feel like your tears are a sign of weakness, but in the kingdom of God, they are a sign of life. Only hearts that still care, still hope, still trust, still love break. The presence of tears means your heart is still alive. You haven't given up. You haven't shut down. You're still fighting, still believing, still reaching for the light, even in the darkness. And God honors that. He doesn't shame you for feeling overwhelmed. He doesn't accuse you for doubting. Instead, He draws near. The Bible says He is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. That nearness isn't just poetic, it's real. It's the quiet strength you feel when you thought you couldn't take another step. It's the peace that covers you when you have no logical reason to feel calm. It's the gentle whisper that says, you are not alone when your soul is screaming in silence. Your tears are prayers. They are conversations with God that go beyond language. They express what your heart cannot articulate. And God, being a God of compassion and mercy, responds not only to words, but to wounds. He sees you breaking and begins building. He sees you falling and reaches to catch you. He sees you weary and begins renewing your strength. So even if you feel like you've been forgotten, like your prayers have hit a ceiling, remember, God is not ignoring you. He is storing your tears, shaping your future, and strengthening your spirit. The hidden tears you cry today are watering the seeds of tomorrow's breakthrough. The pain you feel is not permanent. The sorrow you carry is not the end of the story. God is writing a redemption arc that you can't yet see. He's preparing joy for you, real, lasting joy that won't just cover your sorrow, but will come from it. The most powerful testimonies are born from the deepest pain. The most impactful people are often the ones who have cried in the dark, yet kept walking toward the light. So don't be ashamed of your tears. Don't hide your pain from the one who already knows. Instead, bring it to Him. Every tear, every ache, every fear, and let Him meet you there. You may cry tonight, but joy will come, healing will come, peace will come, because your tears are seen, your heart is known, and your future is held by the one who weeps with you and walks with you every step of the way. When life feels unbearable and every step forward feels like walking through thick mud, it's easy to question whether anything good can come from this place of hardship. In those moments, it's important to remember that God is not only aware of your struggles, He is using them to shape you. Pain, while uncomfortable and unwanted, is often the classroom of transformation. We may not see the full picture while we're in the middle of the storm, but God sees what we're becoming through it. He sees the character being forged in the fire, the strength being developed in the stretching, the depth of faith being cultivated in the darkness. Nothing in your life is wasted when it's placed in God's hands, not even the struggle. There's a sacred process happening in your pain. You may not feel it, you may not even believe it, but every difficult moment you face is working something in you. When you choose to keep going despite the weariness, when you choose to believe despite the silence, when you choose to stand despite the shaking, something inside you is growing stronger. God never promised us a life without hardship, but He did promise that He would be with us in it. He did promise that trials would produce perseverance, and perseverance would produce character, and character would lead to hope. That hope doesn't disappoint because it's grounded in something eternal. The struggle is not just a test, it's also preparation. God uses the weight of hardship to build the muscles of resilience and trust. Just like an athlete grows stronger by lifting heavier weights, your spirit grows stronger through enduring challenges. Each disappointment is stretching your capacity. Each setback is teaching you how to recover. Each unanswered prayer is training your heart to trust deeper. And all of it is moving you toward a purpose greater than your current pain. The growth might be invisible now, but it's happening beneath the surface. Roots grow deep before fruit appears. That's how God works. He builds us in the quiet, in the waiting, in the struggle. What feels like a delay is often divine development. Sometimes God doesn't remove the storm because He's using it to anchor you. He's teaching you how to stay grounded when everything around you is uncertain. He's showing you how to depend on Him when your own strength runs out. And in that process, your faith becomes unshakable, not because life is easy, but because God is faithful. You're learning that even in the silence, He's speaking. Even in the darkness, He's guiding. Even in the chaos, He's in control. This kind of trust isn't developed when everything is going well. It's born in the furnace of struggle. So if you feel like you're in a place of breaking, know this: breaking often comes before breakthrough. What looks like falling apart may actually be God putting things together in a way you don't yet understand. Sometimes He allows the struggle so we'll finally release control. Sometimes He lets us reach the end of ourselves so we can begin to truly rely on Him. And in that surrender, something shifts. We begin to see our struggle not as punishment, but as preparation. Not as something to escape, but something God can use. You are not defined by your pain, you are being refined by it. The struggle won't last forever, but what God builds in you during it will. Your patience, your faith, your compassion, your resilience, these are the treasures being formed in the fire. And one day you'll look back on this season not with regret, but with gratitude. Because through it you became someone stronger, wiser, more grounded. Through it you learned that even when life is hard, God is still good, and He never wastes the struggle. Sometimes when you've done everything you know how to do, when you've prayed, believed, worked hard, stayed faithful, and nothing seems to change, it's easy to feel like God has forgotten you. But the truth is, just because things haven't changed outwardly doesn't mean God is not working. In fact, the moments of silence, the seasons where nothing moves, can often be the most sacred. They are not proof of God's absence, but evidence of His process. Waiting seasons are not wasted seasons. In those times when the heavens feel quiet and your prayers seem to echo into nothingness, God is closer than you realize. He's not just listening, He's preparing. He's working behind the scenes, aligning things in your favor, strengthening you for what's ahead, and refining your heart to handle the weight of the blessing. Faith is not always loud. It doesn't always roar with passion or shake the mountains. Sometimes real faith is quiet. It's the decision to wake up and believe again even when nothing has changed. It's showing up with integrity, working diligently, loving consistently, and choosing to hope when you feel tired and unseen. That kind of faith pleases God deeply. He sees you showing up in the quiet. He sees the discipline it takes to keep moving forward with no applause, no recognition, and no immediate reward. He sees the strength it takes to resist bitterness, to choose peace over anxiety, and to praise Him when you feel empty. And because He sees, when we think God isn't answering, we often assume it means delay or denial. But sometimes God is simply building something that takes time. We live in a world that moves fast. We want instant results, quick solutions, rapid breakthroughs. But God is not rushed by our timelines. He is eternal. He is never late, and He is never early. He arrives right on time according to His perfect wisdom and love. His timing is not meant to frustrate us, but to form us. While we wait for things to change, He is changing us. While we look for signs, He is writing a story. And while we grow restless, He is growing our roots deeper so that when the blessings come, we can sustain them. It's easy to trust God when doors open quickly, when prayers are answered immediately, when life feels full and progress is visible. But there is a deeper kind of trust that is cultivated in the dark. When you don't see the way, when you don't understand the why, and still you say, God, I trust you. That is the trust that transforms us. That is the kind of faith that produces fruit that lasts. It's in the stillness that we discover who we really are, and more importantly, who God really is. He is not just the God of breakthroughs. He is the God of the in-between. He is not just present in the miracles. He is present in the mundane. He walks with us in the waiting, holds us in the struggle, and strengthens us in the silence. So don't give up just because you haven't seen the answer yet. Don't let silence convince you that God is distant. Don't mistake stillness for inactivity. God is always moving, always working, always faithful. If you stay the course, if you continue to trust even when you're tired, if you remain faithful when it would be easier to walk away, you will see the goodness of God unfold in ways that surpass your understanding. The blessing is not only in the breakthrough, it's also in the becoming. And one day, when you look back on this season, you will see that what felt like a delay was actually divine preparation, and the silence was filled with the sound of God shaping your destiny. When you feel overwhelmed by exhaustion and every part of you aches for rest, it's natural to want to give up. Life's demands, disappointments, and challenges can weigh heavily on your spirit, leaving you drained and wondering how much longer you can keep going. But it's precisely in these moments of weariness that God's strength becomes most evident. The Bible reminds us that His power is made perfect in our weakness. This means that when you feel like you have nothing left to give, God steps in to fill the gap. Your tiredness is not a sign that you have failed or that God has abandoned you. Instead, it's an invitation to rely more deeply on Him and experience His sustaining grace. The truth is, God knows your limits better than anyone. He understands your struggles, your battles, and the toll they take on your mind, body, and soul. He's not indifferent to your pain or unaware of your fatigue. In fact, He sees every tear, hears every sigh, and feels every moment when you push yourself beyond what you can bear. Unlike the world, which often values strength and productivity above all else, God honors vulnerability and honesty. He invites you to bring your tired heart to Him, not pretending to be strong, but as you are, weary and worn out. This kind of openness is where healing begins. Rest is not just a physical need, it's a spiritual necessity. When you run on empty, you cannot function at your best. Your spirit needs restoration just as much as your body does. God's promise to those who are weary is that they can come to Him and find rest, not just temporary relief, but deep, soul-renewing peace. This rest renews your strength and renews your hope. It reminds you that you are not alone in your journey and that your burdens can be shared. God carries what you cannot bear and offers rest that rejuvenates your spirit, enabling you to face tomorrow with renewed courage. Your tiredness is a signal, a divine signal, that it's time to slow down and trust God more. It's easy to fall into the trap of trying to fix everything yourself, to push through the exhaustion with sheer willpower. But God's way is different. He calls you to surrender your struggles and your fatigue into His hands. When you do this, you are not admitting defeat. You are demonstrating faith. Faith that God's grace is sufficient even when your strength is not. Faith that He is working behind the scenes even when you cannot see it. Faith that your weariness will not last forever and that a new season of strength and peace is coming. In the midst of your tiredness, God's presence is the greatest source of energy you can find. His love does not run out. It does not tire. When you feel like you cannot go on, God's presence empowers you to take one more step. When your body is weak, His Spirit makes you strong. This is why spiritual disciplines like prayer, meditation on Scripture, and worship are so vital. They connect you to the source of true strength and renew your weary soul. Even a moment spent in quiet reflection with God can revive your spirit and give you the resilience to face the challenges ahead. Remember, exhaustion is not a sign that you have failed. It's a sign that you have been fighting hard. And fighting hard is not a flaw. It's a testimony to your perseverance. But God's greatest desire is not for you to fight alone. He wants to fight alongside you, to carry you when you can't carry yourself, and to lift you up when you feel like falling. So when you feel tired, bring your weariness to Him. Let Him be your rest, your refuge, and your strength. Trust that in your weakness, His power is made perfect, and in your tiredness, His grace is more than enough. Your struggle is seen, your fatigue is known, and His love never fails. There are times in life when the weight of our struggles becomes so heavy that we feel completely alone, as if no one understands the depth of our pain. In those moments, it can be tempting to believe that God is distant or indifferent to our suffering, but the truth is that God is closer than ever in those very moments of hardship. He sees your struggle with a clarity that surpasses human understanding. He knows your pain, your weariness, and the silent battles you fight every day. Even when the world fails to notice, God is fully aware. His love for you is constant and unwavering, and He is always present. Even when it feels like the darkness is overwhelming, God's ability to see your struggle means that you are never truly alone. There is a divine presence walking alongside you, carrying the weight when your shoulders feel too tired to bear it. When life presses in with difficulties that seem insurmountable, God's eyes are on you, watching over you with compassion. He does not turn away or look elsewhere. Instead, He draws near to the brokenhearted and offers comfort to the weary. His heart aches with yours, and He desires to bring healing and peace to your soul. This understanding that God truly sees you can transform how you endure your hardships. Sometimes the biggest challenge is simply holding on when there seems to be no end in sight. The fatigue can be both physical and emotional, wearing down your hope and strength. But knowing that God sees your struggle can renew your spirit. It is a reminder that your efforts, your pain, and your tears are not invisible or meaningless. God values every moment of your fight. He knows how tired you are, and He honors your perseverance. This recognition by God gives a reason to keep going, to keep trusting, and to keep believing that better days are ahead. Understanding that God sees your struggle also means understanding that your suffering has purpose. Life's difficulties are not random or pointless. God uses the trials and challenges to shape you, refine you, and prepare you for something greater. In the midst of the struggle, God is working in ways you may not yet see. He is molding your character, strengthening your faith, and growing your resilience. Each challenge you face is an opportunity for growth, and God is present through it all, guiding you step by step. Knowing this can give you courage and hope even when the road is hard. It's also important to remember that God seeing your struggle is not just about observation, it's about action. God is not a distant onlooker. He is an active helper. He provides the strength you need to face each day. He sends encouragement in unexpected ways, whether through the kindness of others, a sudden insight, or a moment of peace in the chaos. God's timing may differ from yours, but His help is always available. When you feel weak, He offers strength. When you feel discouraged, He offers hope. When you feel lost, He offers guidance. His presence is a source of comfort and power that can carry you through the darkest seasons. Knowing that God sees your struggle can change how you live in your hardship. It invites you to bring your whole self before Him, not just the strong parts, but the broken, tired, and vulnerable parts too. You don't have to hide your pain or pretend everything is okay. God already knows. Instead, you can be honest with Him, share your fears and frustrations, and ask for His help. This openness allows God to work deeply in your heart and gives you a place of refuge amid the storm. It also reminds you that your identity is not defined by your struggle, but by the love and grace of the One who sees you fully and cares deeply. God sees your struggle and knows your exhaustion. He is present with you in your darkest moments and uses your hardships for your growth and healing. This truth offers profound comfort and hope. You are not alone. Your pain is not unnoticed, and your perseverance is honored by the Creator of the universe. Trusting this truth can give you the strength to endure, the faith to keep moving forward, and the peace that comes from knowing you are deeply loved and never forgotten. Sometimes life feels like a relentless battle, where every step forward requires immense effort and every obstacle seems designed to break your spirit. In those moments, it's easy to lose sight of the bigger picture and question why you must endure so much hardship. The truth is, God has a plan for you, even when the journey feels unbearably hard. His timing is perfect, and He is never late. What may seem like a delay or a setback is often God's way of preparing you for the blessings that are coming. Understanding this divine timing can help you find patience and peace amid your struggles. God's timing is not based on human schedules or desires. We often want instant results and quick answers, but God operates on a timeline that is beyond our comprehension. He sees the end from the beginning and knows exactly when the right moment will come for your breakthrough. His delays are not denials, they are divine preparations. While you wait, God is working behind the scenes, orchestrating circumstances, molding your character, and aligning resources in your favor. This waiting period is essential because it ensures that when the blessing arrives, you'll be ready to receive it and sustain it. Waiting on God requires faith, trust, and perseverance. It's not a passive state, but an active commitment to believe that God's plan is unfolding, even when you can't see it. This faith sustains you through moments of doubt and discouragement. It reminds you that your struggle is not in vain and that God's purpose for your life is greater than your current pain. Trusting God's timing means releasing control and surrendering to His wisdom. It means believing that He knows what is best for you and that His plans will ultimately bring good, even if the path is difficult. Patience is one of the hardest virtues to cultivate, especially in a world that values speed and instant gratification. Yet, patience is essential when trusting God's timing. It teaches you to endure with hope and confidence, knowing that your moment will come. This patience is not resignation, but a hopeful expectation that God is at work. It is a confidence that God's timing is perfect and that His delays are purposeful. Learning to wait well is a spiritual discipline that deepens your relationship with God and strengthens your character. During the waiting period, God is also refining your heart. He uses this time to prepare you emotionally, mentally, and spiritually for what lies ahead. Sometimes the delay is necessary to develop qualities like humility, resilience, and wisdom. These qualities are essential for the next season of your life. Without them, you may not be ready to handle the blessings God wants to give you. The waiting season is a time of growth and preparation, even if it feels uncomfortable or painful. It's important to remember that God's timing aligns perfectly with His promises. The Bible assures us that God will fulfill every promise He has made in His perfect time. This assurance gives hope and encouragement when waiting feels long and difficult. You can hold on to God's promises with confidence, knowing that He is faithful and will not fail you. His timing is designed to maximize your blessing and minimize harm, even if you don't understand it now. Trusting God's timing encourages you to live in the present with purpose and joy. Instead of focusing only on what is to come, you learn to find meaning in each day and trust that God is with you every step of the way. This trust transforms your perspective, helping you see challenges as opportunities for growth and waiting as a season of preparation. It allows you to move forward with hope, knowing that your breakthrough is coming at the right time. God's timing is perfect and His delays are never mistakes. Waiting on God is not a waste of time, but a vital part of your spiritual journey. It requires faith, patience, and trust, knowing that God is working behind the scenes for your good. When you trust His timing, you align yourself with His plan and open the door to blessings that surpass your understanding. So hold on to hope, stay faithful in the waiting, and believe that God's perfect timing will bring the breakthrough you need exactly when You need it.